this for 3 years. So
Thank
breathe
you.
it in, breathe in your moment, have your moment. You deserve it. You were sitting next to me a month ago, waiting for this moment.
Mhm.
So breathe it in and understand that you did it. Just you.
Also, just another thing, if you're trying to share the audio sound on your side, it's not sharing.
Oh yeah. Mm. Is it in advanced sharing options? Yeah. Share sound. There we go. Cool. Awesome. Okay. Okay, you guys ready to count down? Okay.
8, 7, 6,
6,
5,
5,
4,
4,
3,
2, 1.
For my 30th birthday, I am doing a crazy trip to prove that we are more connected than we even imagine, especially through fitness and through running. I'm excited, but that doesn't mean I'm not nervous and a little bit terrified. All right, so I arrived in Japan. I made it to Indonesia. Welcome to this week's episode of RUNfully in New Zealand. I am gonna do 5 countries in a matter of 3 weeks. The challenge is that I have to find somebody local to run with me. 1 more hour to find someone to run with. Oh my gosh, down to the wire, guys. Will you run with me? Welcome to Chinchin Totopao! 요소 탁선 하시는 디.
What are you gonna do with your one precious wildlife? Have fun with it.
Why did you start running?
Because if you run, you can learn a lot from it. You just have to keep running so you can go towards your goal, and you have to apply it in your life.
I'm crashing a little bit. My ticket didn't say what gate we were on. Yeah, it says nothing, so.
Kindly ensure that you have all your belongings with you. Thank you.
I may have just hit my limit.
If you try to go fast, then you exhaust yourself. It's painful, it's hard, and you don't want to do it again. But if you go slowly, then you can enjoy it.
Okay, ready, set, go! And RUNfully!
Anything else?
No. Vietnam.
Have a lovely new year, full of joy and happy travels.
Success is pushing past of your limits.
So not giving yourself an option to give up, to back out as much as you can.
You know, at the first time, it might be so hard to start at first. Like your body is not following you. Like me, when I was starting the first skating, it was like so hard. But trust me, your body will follow you, and it doesn't matter whether you can only do 1K or 2K, or maybe you need 50 minutes to finish the matters, yeah, because it only matters like you move your body,
Yes.
and get a healthier lifestyle, and be happy.
With these people that I've met, I felt like right off the bat, like, wow, like I get you, I understand you. Like you may be from a different culture, you may be from a different country, you may speak a different language. Common thing that's just really tying us together. If you have dreams about seeing the world, then do it. See it in your mind, believe it, and then go for it. You will not regret it. Woo! Oh. This is from the last event that we had. Hold on. Back. Okay. Thank you guys. So yeah, so that is from so it was 7 countries in a month. I went to about 18 different cities to interview people as I was meeting them. So from like the first country, I found people through Airbnb experiences, and it was all like about just like leaning in. I talked to Ray a little bit about this before, about how, you know, sometimes you just get that like little intuition hit and it's like taking action right away on it. And then things will be kind of unfolding as you go along. Like you don't need to have a plan. And that was my original like mission and message for the series, was to show people an example of that, of whenever you just lean in totally with faith and things come together. And then throughout the series, you'll see that there were some times whenever, you know, things didn't go quite as planned, and there was actually only a couple of moments, but moments whenever it was like one of those, like, just like you see, you know, the confused moment, the moment where I'm like crying, I got stuck in Singapore for a night. My credit card wasn't working. I couldn't get food. I was starving. It felt like I was going to black out. There's people that were like flirting with me on the street who were offering me food, but I'm like, do I take this or do I not, you know? And I kind of like talked myself through it. And Ray was reminding me that, you know, sometimes we have those moments in our life, you know, where we don't know what's right around the corner, you know, and sometimes in the struggles that I'm going through now, I have to come back to that and remember that, hey, in that moment, I didn't know what was coming next. You know, I didn't know that I was okay and everything was fine, and that there would be a beautiful moment the next day, you know. So it's coming back to that strengthening of the mindset and the trust and the faith that everything is going to be fine, and that, yeah, that your journey is meant happening for a reason. And I can see that in other people, but sometimes it's hard to see in yourself. So that's why we need each other. So we're going to move on to the panel of badass women that are here. But before we do that, does anyone have like 1 or 2 questions or comments?
Elise, you go first this time.
I wanted to know when we could see more.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the goal, guys. And I will talk to you a little bit more about it after the panel, but I would absolutely love, and it's been my vision and my dream to have this out in December. I've tried to get it out in December several times. It's because the trip actually happened in December, so it makes the most sense, because there was You'll see us running on Christmas Day, with Christmas hats and different things like that. So I don't know exactly how it's going to happen, because I also want it to be sold and to get out there in that way. And I don't know like when the pickup times are, but I also know that when you lean in and you trust and you take action, that anything's possible. So so that is where it's looking like it's going. I'm working on a pitch deck right now. I'm also working on building a team because in order for RUNfully to happen the way that it was initially intended to, like I definitely need support around that, because so basically what it's supposed to be is that it's an 8-week series. And then every single week, there are activities that people can do. There'll be like a free version where people can kind of follow along to run their very first 5K. And then they pair that with another goal they have, whether it's just going from feeling depressed or feeling stuck to feeling like full of joy, energy, moving forward on their creative project. And then, so then there's supposed to also be a program that goes along with that people can like come into. I don't know how many people, but would be for them to like get to know each other, to support each other through it, and to get even more depth and tools, and have other women come on, and maybe even some men come on and give like some different like tools to the people so that they can actually move forward in achieving their goals. And then there's an actual 5K at the end of it. So it goes even more in depth than that, but I'll leave it at that for now. But yeah, but it's basically building a team so that can actually happen, because it would be nice if when it comes out, like that those components can also be there as well to support people. Because that was always my dream and my vision, because I've gone to like a lot of conferences, I've been inspired by things, but then it's like, okay, but how do I actually get this out in the world? Like, yeah, I'll be excited for a week, for a month, for a year, but like, how do we actually make big movements, big change in the world, to get our visions out of our head and into the world? So yeah.
I'll just say, Melissa, the ability to execute is something that I just really admire and like have been tremendously inspired by. Like you'll be in a moment where you're like, I don't know, and then it's literally like we chat, and then 5 minutes later it's like you've created the pamphlet, you've sent the invite, like you act really quickly once something sets in. So I just think just continue to keep that in mind. Like it inspires me to want to take action by seeing and witnessing you do it. So just thank you for being a model for that.
Thank you. Yeah. Nice. And I'll share more about how you guys can support after the panel. Yeah.
I had a question, but first I want to echo what Ray was saying with Lori Harder's quote that everyone's been passing around lately, that do it fast and less perfect.
Yeah,
you really do embody that. So kudos to you. This just had me in tears. This like I just love the mission behind all of this. And when I first heard this like a while back through the Powerhouse group, I remember reaching out to you right from the beginning and being like, you're somebody I want to get to know, because I loved everything about what you want to do with this. And I'm just so happy and so excited and so proud to see that you've seen this through to this point. Give yourself all the grace that you need to, because this was a hell of a lot of work. And I don't think you actually realize it. And I think that putting all the pressure on yourself as to why you didn't have this done sooner, please let that go, because everything you've experienced between then and now has just made this more I'm going to start crying, more impactful and more necessary coming out of COVID, right? So please don't give up on this. This is amazing. And that is not even what I wanted to say initially. What I wanted to ask was, you mentioned that you went to Airbnbs, you stayed at Airbnbs. Did you put out to the owners of these Airbnbs what you were going to do? Was this a way for you to also make some of the connections that you made with regards to people that you ran with, or people that you got to know in the communities that you were in?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have the most incredible story that popped into my mind first, so I'll share that one. It's actually at the end of the trip. So I went to Hawaii, and I was supposed to be a layover, and it wasn't even supposed to be even fully overnight. I don't think it was like maybe 10 hours. So so I got an Airbnb, and I was like, okay, you know, this sounds awesome. I picked one because it was like by the beach, and the guy had a surfboard, and he said that he liked to go on hikes with people. And so I thought, okay, this is going to be a RUNfully interview. Like initially, it was always supposed to be 8 episodes. But I thought Hawaii was going to be the last one. And by knowing so much, like the entire journey, like my whole experience. And so I was pretty burnt out from just completely I loved it. It energized me, but after 7 countries in a month, like it was like time to take a break. So it was the most amazing thing because this guy was like super shy, and he did take me on a hike, and it was like a really treacherous, like crazy hike. He said no, he wouldn't be on camera, but like he kind of was thinking about it. So I like brought my camera, and I like had it ready to go. And then it was like became apparent that I absolutely could not hold the camera and survive this hike. So so I had to put it away. And then we had the most just like heartfelt, like just relaxing like conversation and experience with each other. And yeah, so I'm so glad that, you know, that I have that story to share instead of the footage to share. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, Airbnb, yeah, I did find the experiences through Airbnb. So yeah. The runners, yeah. Okay. So if anybody needs to pop off, you can. But we're gonna do a panel now with Elise, who's been supporting me for the last year. And I'm really grateful to you for coming into my life. And we've done some like little pop-ups together and stuff, and just supporting each other in consistency, and just that good energy. And she is a wealth business mindset coach, which is really needed. And so one of the things we're going to be talking about is how to receive, like how to be open to receive what is meant for you, so that you can continue to help other people and you can live a joyous, abundant life. And then we have Darcy, who is joining us. She is a 2.0 energy expert, and she is just amazing. I met her also last year at the Powerhouse Woman event, and I really enjoyed just like dancing with you and just like enjoying that. Yeah, that bubbly like energy, like that's contagious and awesome. And just seeing you like step into your light in this last year and like really hold space for other people, and your Reiki, and just embracing your gifts. That was one of the think the messages that I received from you whenever we were hanging out was like, hey, like cool, you got these weird psychic things going on, like that's awesome, like let's just like do something with that. So yes. And then there's Lily, who I want to even get to know you more, and I wish that I would have in the beginning, but I feel like you've been like that, like quiet, gentle, like supporter, like throughout this entire process. Like in the brief moments that we've been able to connect, I just really feel that love and that care and that support through like letting go of things that I needed to let go of, and to just really embracing this part of my journey. And so I'm really grateful to you. And she is a transformational speaker, she's a coach, and also a healer. So yeah, and then I thank you to Ray, who did the amazing meditation. She is an intuitive coach and healer, and it's been really, really awesome to get to know you over the last very few months. Like just amazing how quickly you can get to know somebody. And I saw that light in you from the very moment that I met you, and just like how much you've been through and broken through. Like that's something that really I do feel like connects you to people, and something that I really do have a lot of love for. Like when I'm in meditation, that's one of the things that I just like feel so overwhelmingly grateful for, is for the people who have broken through the hardest of shit. because like they get it and it's just, yeah, it's amazing. So. So the first question that I have, yes, are you ready? So today in yoga class, so I said, questions, please come to me today. So today in yoga class, at the end of the class, the teacher was like, hey, something very simple. She's like, we're about to go into like the thing where you like, what is it, Shavasana, thing where you like lay down and relax. And she's like, do you want me to grab anything for you? Does anybody want me to grab anything for you? And I don't know why, but the first thing goes to my, I don't know, I can't ask. Do I really need that? Did I want something? I don't even want something. What if, and like all of these just like thoughts of like, and then she said something to somebody else that was like, oh, like I could grab that for you if you want, and then the thought came to me was like, oh, well, this is actually really good because this is something that comes up for me sometimes. And it's like, I feel like ancestrally, like even just like in my recent past, like my grandfather, like the example that I have, like he cannot receive anything, like anything. Like, so I asked him, what is your favorite food? And he's like, I don't know, whatever they put in front of me. Like literally that much. And so I have this strong thing on that side of my my line. And so sometimes I can be like, yes, like bring me all of the things, like I deserve it. But then on the other hand, I have a fear that that if I ask for too much, that then I will lose my heart. That then I will like not be, I'll be asking for too much, I'll be a burden or whatever. And that's what he feels. So my question is basically like, how do you what are thoughts on like how do you receive, and is there a balance that you need to have, so that you're not just like sitting back on the throne and you're just like, bring me everything,
I was like, can I take this one away?
Yes.
Okay, so you brought up some really valid points, right? Because I think that a lot of us who are good givers are really bad receivers. I'm just like point blank in here. I'm a very like, no bullshit, let's get to downtown and figure out why this is happening. And I think that as women specifically, we are taught to be nice girls, and even little boys are taught to be nice boys, or maybe be a man, or a certain perspective and pattern training, which I know Darcy definitely knows what I'm talking about, that we kind of engrave in our head. And then that becomes the base point in which we start. So receiving really comes from like a really original soul place, which is why if there's any kind of mask, if there's any kind of anything that you're trying to be, receiving is not possible. Whether it's money, whether it's relationships, whether it is the best friend that you want to make, whether it is the thing that you want for dinner, whether it's like you trying to manifest something and it really not working at all. So for me, what I would say is there a balance to receiving? Yes. Did we ever get taught how to receive? No. So there is not going to be a balance at first, which is why people really get hung up. And they're like, well, I'm this giver who gives and gives and gives and gives and gives, and no one ever says thank you. And then like now I have the opportunity to receive, and I'm only getting one thing in the way I want it, in the way that I want it to look. And you're mad because you're not allowing it to have a timeline. First key tip in allowing yourself to receive is forgetting the timeline that you've created, because that's not a boundary, that's control. Let's just be clear. Number 2, being able to receive has everything to do with how we communicate and how we acknowledge our own emotions. Were we taught that as well? No. So getting to know how you want to be talked to, as well as how someone else would like to be talked to, is big, because we don't do that. I'm going to give you an example as a story. I asked someone, hey, I really like giving gifts. Like, what is it that I can get for this person? Because I wanted to be the helper, right? I wanted to be the person who saved the day. And the person was like, oh, it's fine. I really know how to give gifts. Like, I already know what she wants. And then the person gave the gift and it wasn't what the person wanted. And they were like, but I'm a really good gift giver. And then the person asked, did you ask that person what they wanted, or did you just assume that they wanted this thing? Receiving is a lot of the same way. You have to be willing to take it all in, and not like candy, to where you're like, oh, I only want this piece, or I only want this piece, or I only want this piece. You can't give and take with the receiving. You just have to fully take it on. So an example that I like to give people to truly help them is, you can, number one, acknowledge whether you can receive or not. That's the first key factor. You have to know. You have to know about yourself. So if someone gives you a compliment and you don't say thank you and nothing else, girl, I'm sorry, you can't receive. And there's nothing wrong with that. I used to be that person. I would be like, oh no, I love your bag, or I have this like thing, or I got it for 99 cents. Like, it didn't matter what it was, but I couldn't receive. So that's the first thing. Number two, when someone also says something to you and you have this need to like completely turn it around and be like, no, 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 I'm going to give to you even more because you just gave to me, that's overgiving to the max of the highest potential. So then we feel this need to keep overgiving. But when you overgive, how are you supposed to put your oxygen mask on first? How are you supposed to help yourself first and then help somebody else? So something I started doing was that if someone couldn't receive, I would put my hand on my heart and I would literally say their name, close my eyes, and have the other person do the same. And I would allow the vibration to start to send to that person. They might not feel what it is I want them to feel. Again, we can't have control, but they can receive someone else's energy. It's also something that I do in a safe space. So if you have one friend that you want to allow yourself a safe space with, and you can share something that you have a goal that you're interested in, that you would be like the biggest dream that you would never want to share with anyone else, and they tell you they love you, or they hold you, or they give you some kind of indication emotionally, physically, verbally, that they care for you, even if you flinch, even if you move, you're still starting to allow yourself to receive. You have to be able to receive the emotions first before the wealth and everything else finds you. The bank statement only matches when the vibration matches. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and I'm glad that I have it recorded.
Yeah, can I just share something on that?
Yeah.
Elise, that was awesome. Amazing, as always. And as a Reiki master, I love how you brought in the energy exchange, right? Because that's a huge thing to it. But my question to you, when anytime you're like hesitating on receiving, or even when you're manifesting, like, is this too much? Kind of ask yourself, too much for who? According to who? Right? Like, who are we getting this permission from? Because if you truly are trying to manifest something, I always say the three components: what, how does it happen, and three, who do you have to be to receive that? So if you know, you're like, hey, I want to bring this in, I want to receive this, whether it's love, money, relationships, right, networking, whatever it is, who do you have to be able to hold that, to carry that within you? And as she brought up, the timeline. I don't know about you guys, but I want big things in this life. But we also got to know there's certain timelines, right? What can you handle right now and manifest and bring into your life compared to where you might be in 6 months? So that's my question. When anybody's like ever comes to me for a Reiki healing and they like want to receive something and they're being their biggest block, I always say, too much for who? Like, who we get a permission from, and kind of turn inwards and get super clear on, hey, what can I receive right now? Yeah, I want to put that in there.
Yeah, I just love to add to that. Not like I'm not coming from a place at all as if I have anything better to add. But I do want to look at Lisa's face. What's that about? I just want to contribute to this conversation by saying that this piece about receiving, I think we do need to reframe it. And this is usually where I tend to start from, is we have to first ask ourselves, like, why do I even feel as though there's something wrong with how I'm receiving? Where did that initial feeling come from? Analyze that, and then reflect on your experience, respect the things that you've been through so that you can come from a genuine place of, this is who I am, this is how I've received, and this is how I can, or this is where I can come from to start to receive in a way that is more fulfilling and more sustaining for me. But I think that when we place judgment maybe on how we are receiving, that may be putting ourselves in a place of taking a couple steps back, because look, we're all designed in a different way. We've all been through different experiences. And for whatever reason, you are walking the path that you are on. So let's start from a place of just accepting where we are in the moment, accepting and respecting where we have come from and why we are in the situation, the place, the feeling, and all of that that we're in the moment, and then move from there.
I think everyone has covered it. The only thing I would add is, and Gavin Massamia actually says this to me a lot, you know, break down and break through are two sides of the same coin. And I think that, kind of to Darcy's point, if we're being able to energetically hold and be at the frequency that we need to not only receive, but to keep that manifestation, sometimes, you know, we need to get through some shit in order to get there. So it's like, all right, you're ready for this? Energetically, this is out here. It's coming to you now. I just need to get out of the way. And I don't want to make wrong the experiences that show up between now and when I receive this thing, because likely these experiences are coming up so I can move them out of me energetically, emotionally, heal that which has previously blocked me in order to receive and be open and receptive to that which I have put out there. So I would just say, kind of be prepared sometimes for that ego resistance, right? And for that to manifest as well, perhaps before the item or thing or experience that we want. It can come with ease, but because we are human, our ego minds will get in the way and want to make it harder. And I just say, move through that experience, don't make it wrong, and actually utilize it as an opportunity for healing for some unhealed wound that is within us that needs to come up to move out. So therefore there is space for us to receive. So I would just kind of have that reminder out there as well.
Ooh, mic drops from everybody. Yes. Thank you, guys. Give everybody some energy. I think we need some movement right now. Good juju. All right. I mean, that was like one of my biggest questions. But this one was coming up for me today. And it does come up a lot. So I keep looking back. This has never happened to me before. But now, so before I would manifest things, like when I didn't know about manifesting, it was so much easier. So I manifested like being able to go to Costa Rica to study abroad for 4 months, which really was what sparked maybe this down the line. I had no idea, you know, but it happened within like a couple of months, like, and I just had this undeniable belief that it was going to happen. Like I just knew in my heart, in my soul, my gut, like this was going to happen. But now, and then other things happened that were like bad, and I would have like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks of just being like, this really sucks and this is terrible, and I'm just feeling all the emotions. But I would then reframe, and that's how I ran my first half marathon. And I was like, okay, like I'm going for this, I'm doing this. I was like, I'm gonna get back to where I wanted to be. But now I have this feeling of like looking back on moments, even within the last 3 years, even though these last 3 years I feel like were very difficult, but there's certain moments like that I look back at, like I was interviewing this girl about mental health. while I was going through my mental health struggle myself, and we really connected. And so I remember just this moment of doing an Instagram live with her where we're just like laughing, and we're just like, we're connecting on a deep level because of our experiences. And I just long to go back to that moment, back to that version of myself. And then I've had another moment where I was being interviewed for a podcast, I think also within the last 3 years. And I was just my bubbly, giggly self. And I was just so excited that I had taken the effort to connect with these people, but they had chosen me. And it was just like this feeling of just like, wow, this is just happening organically and it's beautiful. And now I just feel like I have all other gunk and shit that has come up and that I've never experienced before. So how do you deal with that, with like moments of looking back and wanting to go back to a certain moment, which maybe blocks you from like enjoying the present moment, and like that idea of manifesting, of just being like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna like go for this and do it, and I know it's gonna happen, you know? So. I do have another one to add if no one has anything to say yet. The one other moment that I want to go back to is that I had this moment where everyone from the Powerhouse Women team, I was like struggling with money, and they were like, oh, I think Elise was on this call too. And it was like, I was like, well, I do meditation. Maybe I could teach a little meditation class. And I was like kind of nervous about it, but also kind of excited about it. And there was like some really good energy around it. And then I had this post that I had written, but it said something about like orgasmic, like go into your like if you meditate, it could be like that. And I was like, no, I can't say that. Like I like people are gonna, that's like, no. So so also wanting to go back to that moment and like actually having put the thing out, because whenever I finally put it out, then it was just like, whatever, you know? Like doing things in the moment.
How many people can raise their hand that I'm sure have had something that they wish they would have put out in the moment and then didn't? So you are not alone, my love. But I think Darcy should take the first question because I feel like she has a really good answer. I see it in her face.
Yeah, so my internet's a little weird, so bear with me here. But when it comes to, we all have those moments where like, man, I wish I was as happy as I was then, right? Because really, you really think about it, it is all an emotion. It's a feeling you had at that time, whether it was feeling safe, feeling happy, feeling loved, whatever it was. And you got to kind of ask yourself when you're in that point, you're like, I just wish, because I do this too, right? Especially being a single mama, sometimes I'm like, I just wish that my family was back together, right? So that moment, when I put myself there, you kind of got to ask yourself, what was it that you were liking, right? Like, what was it that you were super connected to that made you feel on fire? It was love, right? It was feeling safe, and kind of say like, hey, we're not there. We're going to release that. My favorite thing, bless and release, because we're no longer there. But also to really dive in and say, how am I going to make that happen? How is my 2.0 going to totally bring that in? Am I totally frozen? My internet's so okay.
We can hear you.
Maybe turn your video off.
Guys, am I frozen? Okay. Oh, my internet is being so weird, which never happens. Okay, can everybody hear me? Give me a little hand.
Yes.
Okay, I don't even know where that was left off, but what I was trying to put out there is like, get really super connected to that feeling, right? Because that's what you're missing. And then kind of ask yourself, what was it about it that you love so much, right? Was it safe? How did it look? And had to really give yourself that permission to bless and release, because we can't go back there. Unfortunately, right? We all want to go back and like maybe change something, but kind of give yourself, hey, you're in this exact moment because of every single step you took in the past. So get really super clear on what you're feeling like you're missing, and now bring that out, right? 2.0 energy, as in how are you going to create that today? So sometimes for me, this means, hey, I, reach out and be like, can I have my son sooner? Or can I do something to make sure I'm feeling that love? Or as you said, Melissa, why can't you bring back that manifestation and mentally put yourself there? It might not be a solution forever, but for right now to get you through that moment, I always say, kind of put yourself back and recreate it. Because we have these beautiful imaginations that we can do that. We can literally take where we are now and be like, how can I make this even better? Right? And you're not going to realize it, but that's a form of manifestation. So sorry about the internet. Lily, take it away.
Yeah, no worries, Darcy. You still killed it. I'd love to add that, Melissa, you specifically, I don't know that you actually also recognize something that you did in the moment of trying to figure out how to get back to that place. And that's connecting with your feminine, the creative part of yourself. Because if I remember correctly, in that time period, you were looking for other ways to make money and to make things happen. And you were totally avoiding the gift that you've been blessed with. That creative part. This is something especially for women, but I think for all of us in general is, I mean, we are made up of this balance of masculine and feminine, right? And yes, it's always tricky trying to find that balance, but whenever you feel like something's off, whenever you feel like you need to tap into that other place, that other thing, that thing that made you feel high vibe or whatever, that's usually a sign that you're dipping too far into one side of the energy or the other, right? So especially for us as women, because we are living in such a masculine world, we need to find ways to tap into that. And creativity is always the first place to start. So, find something that lights you up, find people, a community. We talk about this a lot in Powerhouse, right? Like finding people that also are on a mission to find that thing again, to find that zest, find people that can help you support that, that are also willing to walk alongside you and take that journey with you, because that makes all the difference, right? The people that are going to get you and understand where you are, the people that are in the same place that you are in. And then the third thing that I would recommend is then to go out and talk about what it is you're actually going through, right? If you feel like shit, you feel like I'm not that person I was once before, talk about it. This is the missing piece for so many of us, especially in this time, right? We're just not sharing what we're going through. And the moment we start to do that, we start to make connections on levels that we didn't even think were possible. So yeah, tapping into creativity, connecting with people that can be in community with you, and then sharing what you're going through.
Wow, Lily. Wow. Ray, I want you to get in here, but I wanted to add a very small snippet. Something that I've learned, Melissa, that I know the girls will definitely understand is, what is your intention around your life? Are you a purpose chaser? Or are you a money chaser? Because I already know the answer to the question I'm asking you for you, but it's when we get into that other gear, we've been in survival mode the whole time. So we have to reshift the gear and then understand that we have another gear to shift into. Purpose chasing. Ray, give me thoughts.
I really resonated with what Lily shared, tapping into the feminine and the creative piece and really softening, because in order for us to receive that energetically, again, we need that space. And in order for us to have the space, oftentimes we need to slow down. And, really the fear, the anxiety is what blocks us from seeing ourselves clearly. So for me, a very simple tip is to get outside and to realign my energy vibrationally so I can clear out the lower density thoughts and make room for, wait, I'm okay. I mean, it's crazy how often I'll be in a dark place and I just get outside, because it is often in those moments that our tools feel so out of reach. We know what helps us. I know that dance helps me. I know that song helps me. I know that connecting with people help me. I know that getting in the ocean helps me. So I have my tools that I am aware of and am intentionally build into my life. But of course, life happens and sometimes we forget. So kind of starting to be cognizant and aware of when, back to Darcy, when I feel good, what was it that I was doing at that time, right? What was I eating? What were my eating patterns? When I was like going to sleep, what was my physical activity? Was I inviting time and space for play and laughter? To make it really simple, if you can't do anything at first, just have fun. Do something that's going to invite that joy back in and quiet the mind, get back into the body, and quiet those stories. So but yeah, nature is a great way to start that and to give you that clarity.
Oh my goodness. Thank you to everybody. Yeah, just taking that in for a minute. Yeah, I feel so grateful and so like, yeah, just like re-energized and like things coming through of being like, okay, it's okay. It sucks sometimes now, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm just on a different journey than other people are. And I think perhaps I have made that wrong because I've maybe kind of sensed judgment in other people by the weird journey that I'm on. Maybe it was, I don't know. But the fact is that I always come back to like my journey is beautiful. It is beautiful. It's just that sometimes you're in those sucky moments where you're like, what the heck is happening? Why did I choose this? Like but yeah, and I saw somebody said hand raised or something earlier. I don't know if somebody wants to unmute themselves.
That's
Yeah, did you want to share anything?
He might have a question.
Yeah, a question or a comment. It could be from something that was said earlier.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. No, I was just raising my hand because at some point, Elise was asking a question. Everyone raised their hands. So I was like, because I had my video off. So, but yeah, thanks for acknowledging me. I was just still trying to be a part of the conversation and let y'all know that I'm still listening. I just had to, turn off my camera for a little bit. But yeah, great conversation. I'm really excited about this. Y'all are really awesome and inspiring, on fire. Thanks for inviting me, Elise.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, and if anybody has anything, we're going to do Q&A in a minute. I'll just go over one more brief question. And then because usually, since this is such a smaller group, and actually for my very first premiere event, we did have it was more conversational. We were all sitting in a circle, like on pillows. And that was something that was very intentional because I feel like we go to a lot of these events where there's these people on the stage and it creates almost this bad thing in our minds too. I think that's one thing in my journey that I've realized the most is that how bad like the media system still is, because I don't think I realized it before because I was just living in happy land. But like as I'm like trying to like break through, like there's this event that I went to recently where it's like all the actors get on stage and I'm like, how do I get there? I want to be there. So like for our event, like we were all just sitting in a circle and it was all just like we were all equals, and it was like we had a little bit of like a discussion between the official panelists, but then we opened it up to everybody else to even get feedback. So like one person like we're like, who's going through something right now and wants to get feedback from the panel or from anybody that's here. And that's one of the things that I love about going to FlowFam, so shout out to Gavin, is that it's very just like a community experience, and that's how we like grow and we learn and everything. So yeah, so if anybody ever wants to jump in and dive in now, or type your questions in the chat, we'll see them. But so last question is just if any, not everybody has to share for this one, but if anything comes up for you, what was like one of your like worst moments that you've been through? Like maybe have you ever had a moment where I know because there he's laughing because I'm saying Greece, like a moment where you're like, all hope is gone. And then like how did you get out of that? And like is either that question, or you can answer what is your daily practice to come back to a mindset of like everything's going to be okay.
I can share for the first one. So I went to law school and I took the bar for the first time, and I failed. And I failed by 7 points. And then I said, all right, I'm going to do this again. And studied while working, and my face was broken out all over. I was thinner than I had ever been. I was taking more Adderall than was helpful. And I studied for the bar the second time. And I remember getting my results, and you need like 131 to pass, and I had 128. And I just remember like falling on my parents. I was out working at my dad's office at the time and just kind of like collapsed. I just felt like at that moment my world was over. Everything I had worked for and towards my whole life that I thought I wanted just really felt like it collapsed. And I had seen the state of my body at that time, and how it was so broken down. And I kind of knew like I can't do this again. So it really just felt like I was at a dead end. And I ended up on my way home. My dad stopped at Barnes and Noble, which I always say was kind of a weird stop for him to make. But he stopped, and I decided to go in with him, which was also kind of odd because I had just been hysterically crying. And I walked in and I saw the book, The Universe Has Your Back, Transform Fear into Faith. And I was just immediately drawn to it. And it was Gabrielle Bernstein's book. And it's really about realigning with spirit and realigning with a higher power and really surrendering. And so to kind of go back to the last question, one thing that I do is immediately get reconnected to my higher power. And I do that in a variety of ways. I was raised Catholic. I wouldn't say I'm certainly not Catholic anymore, but being in that kind of a Christian music, worship music, even if it doesn't align, it opens my heart. So I go back to that place, right? And so reconnecting with your higher power. And I just remember sitting in my bed that night, reading that book, starting that book, and just saying like, okay, God, I don't know what to do now. I don't know what to do now. So show me the way. And that book is a really great book that has a lot of really practical tools included throughout to just continuously realign with that connection to source, intuition, God, whatever you want to call it, a higher power of your own understanding. So that was a moment that I experienced. And looking back now, I was quickly given the gift and the exact gift and wisdom that I needed to get pulled out of that. But of course, in that moment, at that night, it didn't feel that way. So it took me a couple of years, but I'm so grateful. And of course, it redirected my life to exactly where it needed to be. But thank you.
Do you mind if I go next, Lily? No, I can't see Darcy's face. I'm like, okay, I'll make it quick. So for those of you who do not know me, I was a chocolatier for 6 years. I went to culinary school, really was not very good at anything in culinary school, and especially chocolate. Like I walked into chocolate class and my chef was like, yeah, you can leave now. I was that bad. So in being that bad and in being in a man's world, I was like, no, I'm gonna figure this shit out. So I specialized, and within like 2 years, I became an assistant chocolatier in San Francisco. And I loved it, but I was literally working like 70, 80, 90-hour weeks. And I was doing all of the production. And my chef would come in and he would like mess around and make a huge mess and then leave. And I'd be like, okay, Elise, this is how we're doing our life now. Okay. It's okay. We love chocolate. We'll figure it out. We'll get there. So post pandemic, obviously, a lot had changed. And I went to go work for a different chocolate factory. And I went to go work for a larger scale factory. And it got to a point where there was still so much toxicity, like over barreling into my life, that my manager was like, Elise, are you having an affair with the lead? Correction. She did not ask me. She told me. And then a week later, she let me go. So in my like closed box, I was like, okay, another chocolate job, another chocolate job. I got an offer from C's Candy. I got an offer from Kiva Confections, which is a specialty chocolate factory here in California that also does cannabis production. Huge, huge positions that I each said no to that were offering me more money. And to make this story very short, every time that a new job was offered, there was something they wanted to take from me. Kiva wanted my intellectual property from every recipe I had ever created from my history of my life, as in they owned it from now on. And they would own my business for the next 4 years. No. C's literally introduced me and they said, hey, Lise, would you be comfortable making $26 an hour? And I said, yeah, absolutely, I would. What do you need me to do? And they said, but everyone on the line is not going to like you because you're going to be the youngest person in the room and no one speaks the same language as you. I said, so they said, so are you okay with dealing with situations that are uncomfortable, that are going to probably not serve you? And as soon as she said that, I was like, oop, I'm out. And then it took another 3 months to find a job. And I had no money at the time. So I had to go on unemployment for the first time in my life. And it was the most uncomfortable, the most shameful, the most disgusting feeling I've ever felt in my whole life. But I'll tell you that if I would have never went on unemployment, I would have never been able to have this vision to continue to meet you, to meet you, to meet you, and to meet you. So sometimes it is the hardest moments when you're like, no, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, that the world comes to rock your shit because you're not meant to do that the way that you want to do it. I hope that serves you. Ray, take it away. Darcy, take it away.
Darcy, you can go. I feel like
Yeah. So I always call this is what my whole brand is based off, which is the claim your worth moment, right? Where we had to hit that like rock bottom where you're so uncomfortable, you can't breathe. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anxiety attacks, you feel the world's coming in on you and you feel so alone, right? Like there's no other option. That moment for me actually was probably about a year and a half ago where I woke up one morning. I did everything that society told me, but I caught myself in my bed having that ugly cry because the night before I went out and got, I drank so much. I was not showing up how I wanted to. I was starting to become broke. I didn't even recognize who I was when I looked in the mirror. And at that moment is where I really stepped back and said to myself, this is my rock bottom. This is what I don't want my life to be. So led to my whole pivot of creating Claim Your Worth, right? And that is where I became at that time, a Reiki healer, now a Reiki master, diving all in. A lot of times when we start our journeys, think about yourself personally. When you started looking to manifestation, meditation, coaching, running, whatever it is, a lot of times it's because you're like, what am I going to do right now to make me survive? How am I going to get through this? And those moments, even though they really suck, right? Those moments are those pivots you need. And it's almost the universe. I always say the universe is tapping on the back. Like, how low do I got to bring you to show you what you're made for? Right? How low do I got to bring you until you are going to step in and claim your worth? So yeah, that would be my moment. And what I say when someone's going through that, right, especially being a Reiki master, a lot of people come to me when they're really in the trenches. And I say, oh, but what do you want? Right? Like kind of giving that pushback of saying, if this is rock bottom, what are we going to do right now to get through it? And what exactly does that look like? Because how are you going to change if you don't have any sort of guidance of what you want your life to look like? So yeah, that's what I base my whole brand off, is that Claim Your Worth moment that really sucks. But now you look back and you're like, ugh, don't want to admit this, but thank God that did happen like that.
so good, you guys. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have learned so much more about each of you. Thank you for sharing all of that. Melissa, such a beautiful question. What do we do when we hit rock bottom? And I know that all of us, I mean, you've heard some amazing stories. The rest of us who haven't shared or aren't going to share, you know, you've all had that moment. For me, I've had several. I've had several of those moments. And I think the one, it's a long story, and some of you on this panel know a lot of my story. The one that hit me the hardest, though, was the birth of my third child, my son, the traumatic birth of my son, and feeling like I hadn't been acknowledged, seen, or heard because of the color of my skin and because of past injuries and health concerns that I had before. I was coming into a situation having felt like I'd done the work, done the healing. I'm a Reiki master as well, right? I like shamanism, like I can run through the gamut, nutritional counseling, I can run through the gamut of all the things that I had studied and done in my past to try to avoid another rock bottom. And yet there I was facing it again. That was the moment that I had to realize that I hadn't owned my story. I hadn't owned who I was and all of the experiences I'd been through fully. I was acknowledging all of that in my head, but I wasn't really putting that out there to help impact others. And so finding my true voice again, knowing whose child I am, whether you're religious or not, knowing that I come and have reverence for something larger than myself, and realizing that I have been anointed with a story that I need to claim in order to claim what I use as my tagline, claim your crown so that you can claim your calling. That's what I hadn't done. And I think that there's so many opportunities for us to, again, reflect, exercise our mind and our bodies, tap into ourselves and our creativity, nourish other people with what we've been through so that we can fully own who we are. Those are the methods that I use to get myself out of those tough situations. So, you know, I'm trying to keep it brief because we've spent a lot of time sharing, and I don't want to make my story seem more important than anybody else's because there's so many great nuggets of wisdom that have been shared here. But I hope that sort of answers your question a bit, Melissa. And I just want to say kudos to all of you that have shared, because this isn't an easy journey that we've been put on, but the fact that we're acknowledging that we're here for something bigger and greater, I think is a testimony to who we are as individuals.
Melissa, I'm sure that Judy would love to say some things to you if you want to give her a chance real quick.
Why you always nudge me like that? You're too cute, sweetheart. Look, guys, I am probably old enough to be your mother. Some of you, your grandmother. And now that's the truth. So let me tell you, I have been through more than your share of ups and downs in life. And the truth is, kids, that there's always going to be an up. There's always going to be a down. It's not the only time you're ever going to go crashing. God knows I have done it more than enough times. But if you understand that life is like an ocean, and when you think about it, oceans have waves. They rise, they crash, they rise again. And if you understand that, then the crashes don't seem as devastating anymore. I mean, I have been, and you can't get any worse than this, which is why I don't think I've ever given a shit about any other crashes that I've had since. But I have been homeless, jobless, and $20,000 in somebody else's debt, not even mine, for crying out loud. And I couldn't even fucking beg my way into a job because I had my own business for 5 years and I was doing amazing and my business was thriving and I was doing what I love to do and I had the whole goddamn rug pulled out from under me. And I wasn't much older than you kids. And here I was. I did not grow up with money whatsoever. I grew up very poor. So every goddamn cent I ever made came from me. Anything I owned came from me. Even though I had married a very wealthy son of a wealthy family. He didn't have a bloody dime because he was an idiot and nobody would give him money. So I supported us. And that son of a bitch took me to the cleaners and back. He robbed my company. He defaulted and destroyed my company. He ran up all my bills because he liked to shop. And I was left homeless and jobless and $20,000 in his debt. And I couldn't get arrested for a goddamn job. Because every time I applied for one, I couldn't even get a hamburger slinging job because every time I applied for one, I was told, well, you're worth too much. And I didn't care. I just wanted to eat. I was lucky enough that I had some friends who were performers and they were going on the road, so they said, just watch my house while we're gone. And I said, thank you. It's better than being on the street. And it sucks when you have absolutely no support from anybody. So you can't get any goddamn lower than that. And literally, it took me a year to beg my way into a minimum wage job, which, by the way, guys, back then was $5 an hour. So I lived on less than $1 a week to eat. I got very thin. And I had to beg for that job. I think the only reason the guy gave it to me is he felt really sorry for me. And I was like, look, he's like, you're worth too much money. You're a CEO. I said, I don't give a shit. I need to eat. Just, And he's like, well, you're worth too much. We can't give you. I said, look, so you just got a goddamn bargain. You got a $40,000 a year executive for $5 an hour. It gets bad. But you know what I learned back then was that the universe has this like push me, pull me thing going on. The more you push, and the harder I was pushing and pushing and pushing to find a job, the harder I was pushing and pushing to keep myself from completely wiping out. The harder the universe was pushing back, and nothing was happening. And when I finally got my little minimum wage job, I realized this can't keep going on. And I can't keep fighting my ex to try and get back the things that I bought and the things that I made because somebody gave me a wake-up call. And people were pissed off because it was my lawyer, and they were pissed off that he let me go through this disgustingly horrible divorce that I ended up going through. But you know what? He gave the best advice anybody gave me that day. He said, who got you all this shit? I said, I did. Whose money were you guys living on? I said, mine. He goes, who built this business up? Me. Who bought all those damn things in your house? Me. Who owned the harp? Me. He goes, if you did it once, you can do it again. And I thought, bullshit. You know how hard it was that I had to do that? And he said, you know what? He could take away everything you own, but he can't take away you. And that was the hardest lesson I ever had to learn. He couldn't take away me. And me is more important. And me is what finally, after I got the minimum wage job, said, enough. Get the son of a bitch loose. Get on with my life. Stop pushing so hard. And just accept that this is a good thing happening in my life, because it is a necessary thing happening in my life, because I needed to move forward from the nightmare I was living. And the minute I did that, the jobs started flowing and the offers started coming in and the people came out of the woodwork, and he was right. I ended up with a better home, a better car, a better life, a better things. And yes, children, crashes happen again. So here I had a 25-year-old emotionally abusive marriage. I had better stuff, better place, 3 wonderful sons, and a great crash. Let me tell you, you think it's bad being a single mom? Try being a single mom and being an older mom that nobody will hire because you're old. And trying to raise young kids because you were so goddamn adamant that you weren't going to get old, that you had them so damn late that you were old enough to be your kid's friend's grandmother. So, that sucks. But I put 3 boys through college and myself. And I had not 2 cents to rub together. But I did have a roof over my head this time around because I was damned if I ever be homeless again. But that was it. All I had was my roof. And when I thought it was all over again, I remembered, nope. If you can live through that last one, you can live through this one. And you know it will come out much better on the other side. So stop pushing all the time. Because when you do let it go and you relax into it, it happens. Which is why I'm married again. And in my 60s, darlings, I know the Dorian Gray paintings in the closet. My husband and I are seniors, which was really funny because during the pandemic, he turned to me and he said, you know, we should check on our senior friends and make sure they're okay. And then all of a sudden, both of our goddamn phones rang. And he turned to me when we got off the phone and went, holy shit, we're the seniors. But life is not ever, ever the end. And as long as you keep facing any troubles you have, any dark spots, any crashes and burns, with the understanding it's just a temporary time. It's just a blip when you think about it in the great cosmos of time. And it always, always means something better is around the corner. And the universe is trying to get you to open your goddamn eyes long enough to see it. Because look, it took me 60 years to find my husband. And when we did find each other, it was like neither of us were looking for anybody. We had both agreed that we had decided 8 years earlier that we were going after miserable life, that we were never going to want to ever have another human being in our life again other than our children. And we bumped into each other. And we couldn't figure out why we were so in sync. I mean, to the point that we actually finished each other's sentences, and we couldn't figure out. We figured out it must have been because we met each other somewhere along the line, and we just forgot because we were too comfortable with who this other human being was, who I just met. Right? So we did. We went through our timeline, literally. How neurotic is that? We went through our timeline from the beginning of time to our current space and found out we literally were living parallel timelines. In fact, we were in the same place at the same time, practically. Almost exactly. And yet we never saw each other. So if you think about that, the universe is bringing you where you need to be. Sometimes, though, we gotta actually open our eyes to see it. And it just so happened that at that particular point in time, both of us had said for the first time in our lives, we were happy with who we were for the first time. And we didn't need anybody else. And we were able to open our eyes. And that's how you keep moving up. And that's how you keep going over the bumps. And I hope that helps.
Yeah. What? You make fun of me, but you dropped the mic, Judy. So I'm gonna keep giving it to you.
Well, that's why I am now. And I realized a medium told me many years ago the reason that I spent most of my life trying to walk off this earth, literally, because it was so terrible, my life, and I had hit so many crashes that I literally spent most of my life trying to walk off this earth. And a medium told me one time, she says, the reason you're not allowed to. So what the hell you mean I'm not allowed to? She goes, the reason it keeps failing every time you try to walk off this earth is because you're not allowed to. And I said, why? She goes, you have something you need to tell people. Because you need to save other people's lives. And I didn't know what she was talking about until about 15 years ago.
I am so beyond grateful for this particular moment. Thank you for your presence, your wisdom, your love, your vulnerability, your authenticity, all of it. I think we've all been blessed in the biggest of ways. This is bigger than I could have imagined what I'm receiving from this today. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and amen.
Thank Elise.
Listen, okay, there is a reason we are all in this room. I may be a cheerleader, but my energy attracts fucking monsters. And Judy was actually the woman who helped me start my show on Mind Valley. And then I helped her start her show. We're all pieces to each other's story, you guys. You just don't know all of each other yet because I haven't berated you into being friends yet. But don't worry, I'm starting and it's happening because it's here.
Okay. So now I need everybody to make a puzzle piece shape with their bodies because we need to have more fun. So everyone make a shape. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, don't think. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, last one. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh, that one's the prettiest one. All
right. I love you, my love. I think we're all so freaking proud of you.
Yeah, we are. Thank you so much for facilitating this and just for, I mean, your passion, your heart. You have gifted me with so much, including this moment in this space. So just keep trusting yourself, keep following your heart and look at everything that you have attracted today. This is a mirror back to you. So just thank you. And thank you all so much. It was such an honor to meet all of you.
Samesies. And I also want to put a special shout out to Cordero. I mean, thank you for being here. I don't know you, but I want to get to know you.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Light, and I just feel it in my heart that you are such a special soul. So thank you for just being here.
That really means a lot. Thank you. I was on the off chance, didn't really have anything going on this afternoon, and I received this text from Elise asking for my support on today's call. So I wasn't sure what to expect when she sent me this link. So I click on the link and I'm like, RUNfully. I was like, what? I was like, this is like, couldn't be better timing. She don't, well, she doesn't know. She know. Me and Elise go back a little ways now. We just met earlier this year. But part of my transformation when working with her has resulted in taking complete control over my how do I say it? Like I was sedentary. Like I was kind of like settling in my own shit for a while. And there came this turbulent wind at the beginning of the year that shook me up. And I was like, something's got to happen with this. Something's got to go. And I was directed to Mind Valley, and then directed to Elise. Like and then I started getting coached by her. And as a result of that, I did something that I've never done before because, I've made attempts before, but my physical wellness wasn't up to par. Like I've received injuries in my back from when I was like really, really young. So I had like a herniated disc, and I've gone to chiropractors. I've lost functionality in my legs before, and I've seen neurologists. Like I've seen trying to get a lot of help to figure out what my situation was. And I remember one time when I lived in Florida, I asked my chiropractor, I was like, so how long is it going to be before I can start running? Because I wanted to run. It's one of those things I've just been wanting. It was more like I want the ability to be able to do that instead of running around kind of, like my condition was pretty bad. But she said never. She's like, you're never going to run again. Like, don't try it because it's going to affect you really badly. And I was like, we'll see about that. So after we parted ways and I went through this whole crazy stuff, fast forward to the last few months, while I'm going through my transformation with Elise, I just started running. And it's become I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning, ready to go. And, of course it's like pitch black outside because I don't know where y'all are at, but I'm over here on the East Coast, and like we're going into fall. So now it's like dark in the mornings. So I waited until the sun rose a little bit. At that point I've been awake for a couple of hours. I've done my stretches. I'm still ready to hit the road. And I went ahead and did that. I do it every morning. And if it's not in the mornings, then it's every evening. So, and I've been tracking my progress and seeing how it's really funny. And at least I haven't told you about this yet. But I showed this to one of my friends. I was like, look at this timeline here. And it was a graph because the Apple Watch and the phone, they track my progress over. I was like, see where the numbers are really low. This was before my program started. And I was like, here's where the program started. And I was like, and here is where we were at the point where we were getting close to finishing. And my numbers are like off the charts. Like I've reached like cardiological fitness is at an all-time high. I have never been this fit before. And it was like peaking at the same time that me and Elise were like finishing up our first set of the program, our first program. So I was like, well, that has everything to do with it. And, Elise basically was like a blessing, like just kind of just fell right in front of me in my world, because I was dying for a transformation. Like I needed a shift. I needed to get the hell out of the position that I was in because it was not serving me. I had been doing everything wrong for the last 30 years and didn't realize it because I thought I had it all. I thought I had it all figured out. Thought I was the master of my domain, that I had complete control over everything. But that was when things are like, no, dude, you're wrong. Let's show you. And every time I got knocked down, I was like, no, that was just a mistake that I made because I was still trying to keep control. So meeting Elise helped me realize where it was healthy and necessary to begin that surrender. And I am not the same person that I was even 3 months ago, even a few weeks ago. And like the way that my mind has just been dramatically opened up, the way that I receive now and how I respect myself, like there's so much transformation and growth. And I can't believe that all of this has brought me here tonight, sitting with you fine ladies, discussing some like really, really juicy, good wisdom. And like, this is the stuff that I live for. And I remember there was a time in my life where I turned that off because I don't know, it was like a conscious choice. And then I saw the darkness that I was in for so long. And then finally I got that light back on this year. And then here I am speaking. Like I found my voice finally, thanks to Elise. I found my voice and I am starting to use it. And that's what I'm like super, super grateful for, is kind of taking that fear, because we've all brought up fear recently in today's call. I love that. I now love it. That feeling of fear, when it strikes into my chest, I know that something's up. And I'm like, this is let's use it. Like it's a tool now. I now use it as a tool instead of a way to cop out and not take a chance. And like I don't want to take up too much more of your time. But I did have that dip too. Like we all have these moments where it rises and falls. And like I had a dip this year that I didn't think that I was ever going to recover from, because it finally seemed like the end for me. But that was actually the beginning. And that was when I crossed paths with Elise. So like, and in Mind Valley, like just being a part of these platforms and making contacts and new foundations, new friendships, new relationships with people like you. None of this was even, I couldn't even see it before. And now it's just popping up left and right. And I'm super grateful for that. Like I really feel I have nothing to be afraid of, but then when that fear does come in, like I just harness it now. And like I could go on and on because Elise is like really charged me up, and like she is definitely the cheerleader. And sometimes I feel like, I'm kind of like wanting to be the cheerleader with her, especially when she asked for my support today, because she said that she was going to be speaking on this panel. And I was like, of course, zero. Yeah, 100%. Like there's no way that I'm not going to do it. As soon as she was like, you support if you have time, I'm like, yes. Even if I have to like carry my tablet with me while I'm walking around, getting dinner or whatever, I'm going to do it, because you want me here, I'm here. Because at least you've really come through for me. Like we've gone through some stuff, like the whole transformation, and I was really excited about that. And now I'm like really excited about Melissa, your this global run thing. Like I'm stoked about it. I saw like your premiere video was really cool. I'm getting ready to travel abroad for my first time, and when I saw your video today, I was like, oh my God, this is like really inspiring. And like it's kind of added some stuff to what I want to do now while I'm abroad, because I've never done this before. And I was like, what am I going to do when I get out there? Like I'm not a tourist. I'm not going to do touristy things. I want to like get out there and like connect with people and do lively stuff, like live. So like, I don't know, this is all perfect timing. Like I'm just really excited about this. So y'all have my support, and I'm definitely going to be, in this some more. So I really appreciate it. Thanks for, giving me the time to share.
No, thank you so much.
I have to tell you, Cordero, that don't ever worry about that you can't do something. I'm going to tell you really quick. I had my oldest son. I mean, since the beginning of time, all he gave a shit about is swimming. And when he was young, he had mononucleosis, pneumonia, and strep literally within 6 months, and literally wiped out, completely and totally wiped out his immune system. Took him out of the water for almost a year, and he thought his life was over. They told him he would always be sickly, he was always going to now have asthma and all this other shit. And he came back and he said, fuck you, I'm a swimmer, I'm going to keep doing this. And I said, well, you sure you want to do this? He said, yes. And he kept working. And you know what? For the next 5 years, every time his brothers got a 24-hour flu, he was down for 2 weeks, which really kicked his ass every time. And he was like, they keep saying no. They keep saying no. I don't care. I think it's going to be yes. And they kept giving him more meds, and he was miserable, and he was frustrated. And then he finally said to me one day, he said, I can't do this anymore. I said, what do you mean? He says, I can't do the meds anymore. And I said, so let's find a better way. You still want to do this? He said, yes. So then let's find a better way. To this day now, he did get to do his swimming. He didn't get as far as he wanted to originally, but he did get as close to it as he could, which was he said, if I'm not going to make the Olympic trial team, I want to at least make Scholastic All-American, which he should have made Scholastic All-American, and the only reason he stepped out and did not take it was because my brother died the same time. So he stepped away from the meet for my brother's funeral, because my brother always supported that he wanted what to do. And he says, but I'm going to keep swimming, and I'm going to keep running, and I'm going to keep going. And he's this insane surfer now who surfs all over the damn world. I'm like, okay, honey. And he doesn't take his meds because he wanted to do it. That's all you have to decide, because the body's an amazing frickin' thing. And it'll give you what you want. And you are young, sweetheart. You are so young. It'll give you what you want. So never, ever listen to anybody who says die. If a 72-year-old client of mine who couldn't walk up and down stairs can turn around, no matter what the doctor says, and start walking up and down stairs and walking all around the neighborhood without a walker, without a cane, never say die. Because the human energy is much stronger. Look at Donna and Eden, for crying out loud. The human energy is so much stronger. So you want to run.
Snaps for that. That's actually one of the messages in the RUNfully series, because one of the ladies that I met in Brazil, she's from Brazil. I met her in New Zealand, and it was just one of those incredible, just like moments like where you were like bumping into the person that you're meant to bump into, because we just had like kindred spirits. And she had more energy than me, and she was like, and I had also, going back to that, like I had so much energy because I did run 13 half marathons in a year, and I didn't share all of my story, but I actually had heart palpitations before all this. And like the doctor said like that I, needed to take it easy. Like I remember even my dad called my swim team at one point and was like, I knew in that moment too, when they attached those things to me, I knew that it was the power of your mind back then. And my dad was like, no, like he called my swim team up because he was so nervous, and he's like, he told them about it. And so then they took me out of the meets. And so I got so frustrated that I was like, I know what it is. It's stress. It's the caffeine that I'm having. It's the chocolate that I'm having. It's the mindset that I'm having. I'm actually playing a victim mindset right now. And I knew that at that age, at a certain level. And so I made them give me the test again, and I like calmed myself. I like, didn't have that caffeine, and I and then I ended up, I got cleared from that. But I still later occasionally had these heart palpitations, because it is a physical thing, because I wasn't very good in my fitness at the time. And so and I didn't like to train. I loved running, but I never ran past 3 miles. And it was, again, one of those really low moments where it's like, oh my gosh, like everything's falling apart. I'm going to lose my job. I'm depressed. I don't know what my next steps are. Whenever I said, F that, like I'm going to sign up for a race that's 3 months away, instead of saying someday, I'm actually going to run this half marathon. And somewhere drew that energy up within me and started training little bit by little bit, and researching online and trying different things. And that's basically what led to all of this. was just that moment of making that decision and starting to move forward and helping my physical fitness to be better, which also helped my health. So then fast forward, you know, all the way until when I'm meeting this lady in New Zealand towards the end of my trip. I had so much energy because at that point I had run 13 half marathons in the year, and I was on dance teams, and that gives you like so much energy. Like you were saying, you just start to, you wake up in the morning and you love waking up, you know, and you just start to love life, you know, again. And so I met her, and she was in her late 60s maybe, and she had 2 younger kids. She was just like bouncing off the walls, and she's like a gymnast. She like teaches dance, and she's a runner. And so that was when I realized that one of the messages of RUNfully is that it is like all the media and everything is telling you, and all people are telling you, when you get old, you eyesight. When you get old, you lose your hearing. When you get old, your back hurts. When you get old, you have arthritis. And that's just a part of life. But but I always knew, I was like, no, I was like, it's not that. It is that you do. It's so, right now I'm dealing with it. I got like this big like freaking gut right now from which I like was in love with my body like a few months ago, but now it's uncomfortable. And so I'm like, it's so hard to like to start. It's so hard. That's the reason why people are accepting that kind of mentality of like, oh, you just can't do it, because it's easier to just accept that. It's easier to be like, yeah, you know, it's too late for me. I'm just going to sit on my couch, because it is so hard to get yourself. It's so hard. Even after running 13 half marathons and all this stuff, like just running a mile the other day, I was like, what, you know, but but like but seeing examples like that of people that are like in their later age that have not accepted that and have continued to stay in their fitness and haven't stopped, because I think when you do stop, that's when it's hard to get up. But I think that that's what RUNfully's mission is about, and you guys are talking about, you know, like still being here for a reason, and I have a feeling that that is one of the reasons. It is to help people that are, and especially now after COVID, that are like so stuck and that are like not wanting to get up off their couches, you know, physically and metaphorically, to get up and to go and try one more time, and to find that energy within them, and to know that, okay, now let's keep that momentum going. Let's keep it moving forward. Let's not lose it again. Let's, you know, keep our health and keep our energy, and, you know, spread the good vibes. So yeah.
I'm glad you think that way, because I tell you that, you know, Elise knows the only reason I will never feel I'm old. My aunt, my mother's eldest aunt, eldest sister, she died a long, long time ago. And she was like just before her 99th birthday. And this woman in her 90s was giving me her daily morning routine. And I was a professional young dancer at the time, so I was in damn good shape. And she's giving me her morning routine. And we're not talking some damn Tai Chi or yoga shit. We're talking, this woman was running, doing serious calisthenics. I'm like, what the hell? She got halfway through her routine. I was exhausted. I said, I don't know what the hell you're doing. And this woman was like 94 at the time. I was like, I don't know what the hell you're doing. She goes, oh, I'm fine. This is what I do every morning. I'm like, I'm tired. You don't have to tell me the rest of what you do in the morning. I'm already tired from what you just told me. I mean, she died just before her 99th birthday. She contracted a terminal disease that was very rare. But this woman, I mean, crying out loud. And I remember also when I was a little kid, when I was young, one of my older big sisters, when she got married, her grandmother was 96 years old at the wedding. And, you know, this is like in the early 1960s when we were dancing our asses off, rock, roll and whatever. And this 96-year-old woman was getting down better than all of us young people on the dance floor. And I was like, damn. So if I'm in my 60s and my husband's about to be 70, we're not old, honey. And if they can keep running and my aunt could keep running, she used to run like a half a mile around a park first thing in the morning. Okay. And that was just the beginning of her routine. So you're right. Just keep them moving.
I was like, girl, you making me tired. Okay. And I have a morning routine to make most people fucking blush. Melissa, take it away, my love. Any last words that you want to share?
All right, so on this momentous day of the premiere of RUNfully Global, I want to remind you that life is awesome and that anything is possible, and that silliness is needed in the world. Also, I'm going to quickly show you guys different ways that you can stay connected and to support. So let me share my screen again. Okay. See. Okay, so it looks like I have to look it up again. I don't know where it went, but so this is the website. That was a beautiful process to design it about a year ago. So it's runfullyglobal.com. So if you want to know more in depth about the future of RUNfully, how it started, what we're about, you can check it out here. The only difference is that now it is going to be having more of a nature feel to it. So there may be a redesign coming at some point, but this is something that I'm really proud of, that we worked hard on, and has basically the core of what RUNfully is. So I hosted my first retreat, so you can see info about what that was there. That's something that may come up again in the future, if any of you guys want to just keep an eye out for that. Then there is more info on just my journey, a future coaching program, a quick promo to the other show, which will be premiering. So that's another way you guys can keep an eye out for, stay connected. On YouTube, I'll probably be premiering this short trailer teaser, and then soon, within the next month, I'll be premiering the first 24-minute episode that we filmed. And that's really where my heart is now, and wanting to focus on is going into the film of this, because I love just being on sets. Like, that was what I wanted to do when I was a little girl. And so I'm wanting to lean more into that, just personally. And then if we ever have any events, and then the thing that's really closest to my heart is this global ambassador program. And this is something that when you support anything with RUNfully, whenever you support directing people to it or watching things on Instagram, or I'm going to show you next our campaign to fund the film project, it's really helping for this dream to become a reality, which is this is Put, a girl who I met in Indonesia on Instagram while I was doing my 13.5 marathons, and then I ended up meeting her in person. She was one of the people that inspired the trip around the world. And so she is a leader in her community, and as you can see, she has a lot of international friends. She loves learning different languages, and but she's also gotten stuck on her journey, especially during COVID. And but when we were really connected, she was wanting to be a leader in her community, to lead people into helping the environment, to lead people into a joyous life, and to lead people into a healthier lifestyle. And so we put on a race in India with over 40 school children. She had 5 of her friends come and run with her. So this is the future of RUNfully, which is what was really always part was being able to empower young leaders around the world to step up and to create communities, to also incorporate different art forms into RUNfully, and to just create an impact in the way that they really want to. So this is, so that was runfullyglobal.com. And then if you look up, I'll put it in the chat too, but if you look up RUNfully Global, I Fund Women, this is the next push in addition to getting the pitch deck together. But we're looking to raise funds to finish this film by December. So you can see a video here that gives more information about the RUNfully movement, and then just more information about the campaign. And there are different like levels and prizes and stuff that you can get for that. Yeah, we are also going to be giving away a coaching session. So I'll figure out what we're going to do with that, but I might just take everybody's name who was here or who wasn't able to get into the Zoom for whatever reason and do like a raffle for one of the coaching sessions with one of our panelists. And we'll be having more events like this in the future too. So if there's anybody who you're like, oh my gosh, I think that this would really resonate with them or really like the energy or the feel of this, then if you can just like let them know about it. It'll be coming up soon. I don't have dates yet, but I'll be doing one in person, probably in the Santa Monica area with the running groups. That'll include an actual run afterwards. And then I'll probably be doing at least 1 or 2 more online events.
Melissa, I might be able to get you connected with the Bahamas International Film Festival. When I lived there, I was one of the executives, and the snag is that they just closed the window for submitting films, but the festival is in December. It's always in December in the Bahamas. And so it could work out really well timing wise with the premiere that you want there. And it's a nice, intimate festival. So it's a great opportunity to network and try to get people on board and who might want to take up the cause. So.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, if anything, as long as I have the first episode done by then would be great.
Melissa, where are you located?
Currently I'm in the Riverside area in Corona, and but I'm in LA a lot.
Okay, because I do have a lot of connections in the film world. Yeah, if send me here. I'm gonna put my email in. Send me your email information, and I'll get you connected. Because can I ask what your ethnic background is?
Yeah, I am a mix. I am mostly I'm reclaiming my Latina side from my mom's side. She's from Mexico and maybe Portugal. And then my dad's side is actually Irish and English.
Okay, because this particular, and she's based in LA and the DR, but these particular and they're big guns, but they promote Latina media, and if you're a woman and Latina, she will go out of her way, because she's originally from the DR. Her kids are half white and half DR. So
awesome.
Her husband's from England or Ireland or something like that. He's from UK. Yeah, no, here, I'll put my email in there. Just shoot me an email so that I have your email, and I'll get you on their list. And then I have another friend who's amazing. He's a producer. He's done independent films. He's done TV shows and whatnot. and he's always looking to help people who are doing good work, and not just film work, but good work for people. And he was an independent film producer for many years, helping young people to be better through film. But he's also a very good. He's one of the top media people in the country, and he runs this Prima Media Latino, Prima Latino Media or something like that. Prima Media Latino. Anyway, he's an old friend of mine. We go back years ago, in school. But yeah, so I'll throw my email in there. Send me your, shoot me an email, because my brain will, I go through that 3,000 emails a day. So I'm going to give you the email that I'll probably say something first with. But shoot me an email, and remind me who you are and everything in the email. And I will definitely get you into their lists. Because she does an international festival every year, where if you have something, a project, you can promote the project, and you can present it to some of the biggest guns in the country across the world. The biggest media people, the biggest producers, and I can give that introduction to you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Don't worry, I'll tell her about LA. Okay, Judy, I'll tell her.
Yes. Yeah, connecting with the Latin roots for sure. Yeah, that's something I feel really strongly called to right now too, especially because I meet other people as well who are, Latin, who have even maybe harder backgrounds than I do. And I can see the light in them, I can see their talent, and I can see how hard it's been for me. So how hard it must be for a lot of us to really step up. And
it's always more difficult, especially if you're Latina or anybody of color, to be in the industry.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I grew up people laugh because I grew up bilingual. So they're like, oh yeah, you speak Chinese. I said, no, I don't know what the hell makes you think I speak Chinese. I speak Ecuadorian, Spanish, and English. That's how I grew up, bilingual. So I'm more Latina than I am. Anyway.
Well, Miss Melissa, this has been amazing. And I don't just sit and hang out for anybody, but you deserved every moment of our time. So I love you. And I'm so grateful for you. Judy, you showed up for me big time. Cordero, you showed up for me big time. I'm so grateful. Lily, you and I are going to continue to become better friends.
Yes, we will, girlfriend. Yes, we will. I know we've had some missed windows, but it's happening.
Melissa, let me know if there's any way that we can support you in the future, my love.
Thank you, Melissa. You've given to us, I think, more than we've given to you.
I do have to run, guys.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Bye, my darlings. Judy,
all my batteries are dying.
See you later. Lily, love you.
See y'all.
Awesome. See you guys. Thank you.